am going to give away a free t-shirt, ask and answer a question, and reveal the book's up off this week. How y'all doing? I'm Victor, and you are watching a Comic Hero Show. Now kick that intro. Welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. This is the final Summer of Superheroes episode for 2025, and it's all about Catwoman. Now I'm going to touch base on her later on, but for right now, it's time to give away a free t-shirt. Alright, last time I asked, in the comics, which other Marvel superhero team have all four members of the Fantastic Four been members of? Well, the correct answer is the Avengers. And no, they weren't all members of the Avengers at the same time, like they are with the Fantastic Four. And sometimes, there have been times where throughout the history, they haven't even been on the Fantastic Four at the same time. But the correct answer is the Avengers, and 7 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, their names have been entered in a drawing for a free tee. And that drawing takes place right now. So the winner of the free tee for this week's episode of the show is Aaron Mills from Houghton, Louisiana. So congratulations, Aaron. You win yourself a free Comic Hero tee. Alright, here's the question for next week's episode. And because I'm showing some love to Catwoman on this episode, this is a Catwoman question. Which actress played Catwoman in The Batman in 2022? Was it A, Anne Hathaway, B, Zoe Kravitz, or C, Halle Berry? Alright, here's some hints to help. The first hint is that this actress has starred in other movies like Mad Max Fury Road, X-Men First Class, No Reservations, the Divergent series, and the Fantastic Beasts trilogy. The second hint, this actress's mother, Lisa Bonet, was famous for her role as Denise Huxtable on both The Cosby Show and A Different World. The third hint, this actress's grandmother, the late Roxy Roker, was famous for her role as Helen Willis on The Jeffersons. Then the fourth hint, 5 years prior to playing the physical role of Catwoman, this actress played the voice of Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie. Alright, and the fifth hint, this actress is also a filmmaker, writing and directing the 2024 thriller, Blink Twice. And then the sixth and final hint, this actress is also the lead singer of the music group Lola Wolf. Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee on next week's episode of the show. So, I gotta ask, any questions?
Questions I walk around in. Questions I didn't thrive in. Questions I will survive in. Questions.
This question comes from Cassia Robertson from Tampa, Florida. She asks, what are your thoughts on the different generations' first thought or idea of who Captain America is to them? For example, the first Marvel movie my 3-year-old watched was where Captain America is Sam Wilson, but my Captain America is Steve Rogers. So we're a house divide on who we're talking about for who Captain America is to us. Not sure if you can make it more questionish, but thought about it to be a potential talking point, if nothing else. Well, Cassia, this is going to. Oh, by the way, this is going to be a question that I'm going to that I've given a lot of thought to, and I'm going to give a very long answer. So brace yourselves. The one thing that makes this thing called life worth living is the fact that we all have preferences. And I think that's a great thing. I mean, a lot of folks may like the Eddie Brock Venom. I personally like the Flash Thompson Venom. And And if anyone else thinks differently, that's totally fine. I mean, I'm content with the fact that I like the Flash Thompson Venom, and I'm content if someone else likes the Eddie Brock Venom, or even the Frank Fortunato Venom, or the Mary Jane Watson Venom, or the or what have you. You know, there's nothing wrong with having preferences, but I think somewhere along the way, a lot of us have become so comfortable with what we like to the point that we become tone deaf or even defiant towards what anyone else likes. I mean, it's gotten to the point where if somebody likes something that we don't, then we either say that we'll do anything from say it they're wrong to want to do them bodily harm. And there's no sense to that. Just imagine what life would be like if we all liked the same thing. Not only would the world be boring, but there'd be no room for progression. There'd be no room for growth. And that's something that my late father was all about. He was all about progressing. He was born in the late 50s and he was raised in the 60s and the 70s. But even as he got older and he got married and then my sister and I came into the world, he knew that the times were changing, and he knew that he'd be a disservice to himself if he didn't change with the times. When my sister and I were growing up, he ended up buying Boyz II Men's first two albums, Cooley High Harmony and 2. And then he ended up buying Aaliyah's first two albums, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number and 1 in a Million. He even listened to The Roots. He listened to Jodeci. He listened to Shy. He listened, he changed with the times. Now, he only lived 40 years. He passed away 27 years ago. But he lived probably the best 40 years that anyone I know. He lived a better life than I did, to be honest. But he changed with the times. And that was something that he passed on to my sister and me. Change with the times. Be content with what you like, but don't badmouth anyone who doesn't. Because the rest of the world isn't going to have the same point of view, or the same, or not going to go about it the same way that you do. And that's fine. But let them be, and respect them, and listen. And honestly, I like both the Steve Rogers and the Sam Wilson Captain America because they both bring something positive to the table when it comes to the mantle of Captain America. But to answer your question, Cassia, we all have preferences. We all have our likes, even 3-year-olds. So if CP happens to like the Sam Wilson Captain America, that's great. And if you happen to like the Steve Rogers Captain America, that's great. But whatever you do, please don't try to get your son to think otherwise. Respect what he likes, and then support him. And I think that's what we all should do. If someone likes something differently than what we do, we should respect them. And if it's positive, support them. I'm not gonna try to get you to support something negative, because negativity is an oxymoron. But I just believe that we should respect each other's preferences and differences, because there's a lot of truth. There's also a lot of truth behind the theme to the old sitcom Different Strokes. It takes different strokes to move the world. Because you don't want to be stuck in a world where everyone likes anything, because the world wouldn't move, the world wouldn't progress, it wouldn't change, it just wouldn't be interesting, it wouldn't be worth living. But Cassie, I hope that that answers the question. And that was a very deep question. In fact, that was the deepest question that anyone has ever asked me since I started doing the Any Question segment on this show many years ago. And Cassia, thank you so much. And I also have a few other questions that are going to be lined up for future episodes, and I'm willing to take more. So if you want to ask me any question, please do so. But remember, they have to have something to do with comics. They have to have something, and they can either have anything to do with me in terms of the show or the hobby. But please, no personal or tasteless questions. I will neither ask nor answer them here on the show. All right, let's get to the comics I bought this week. Comic books I bought this week. All right, here we go. First up is The Flash number 23. And folks, before I reveal these next 4 books, I ended up buying these 4 books when I went to the first annual Union Parish Comic Con in Farmerville, Louisiana, just over a week ago. While I was there, I met this independent comic book creator by the name of Ricky Sykes, and he has his own independent label called Cicada Comics. And I told him that I was going to support him and that I was going to not only read his books, but I'm going to support him. And then when I resume doing the Comically Speaking with Victor podcast, I'm going to give him a review on the books. So, and those books, his books are called Humbaba. So with that being said, Humbaba number 1. Humbaba number 2. Humbaba number 3. Humbaba number 4. The Incredible Hulk number 27. I'm really excited about this book, folks. Speed Racer number 1. Thundercats Lost number 4. Titans Annual 2025. Ultimate Spider-Man number 19. And finally, The Ultimates number 14. Alright, that's 11, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 13,886. Alright, well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Here's a question again for a free tease for next week's episode of the show. Which actress played Catwoman in The Batman in 2022? Was it A, Anne Hathaway, B, Zoe Kravitz, or C, Halle Berry? Now here's some hints to help. The first hint is that this actress has starred in other movies like Mad Max Fury Road, X-Men First Class, No Reservations, the Divergent series, and the Fantastic Beasts trilogy. Then the second hint, this actress's mother, Lisa Bonet, was famous for her role as Denise Huxtable on both The Cosby Show and A Different World. The third hint, this actress's grandmother, the late Roxy Roker, was famous for her role as Helen Willis on The Jeffersons. The fourth hint, 5 years prior to playing the physical role of Catwoman, this actress played the voice of Catwoman on the Lego Batman movie. And then the fifth hint, this actress is also a filmmaker, writing and directing the 2024 thriller, Blink Twice. And then the sixth and final hint, this actress is also the lead singer of the music group, Lola Wolf. Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tea on next week's episode of the show. And congratulations to Aaron Mills from Haughton, Louisiana, who won a free tea on this episode. All right, to close out the summer of superheroes for 2025, it's all about Catwoman. Now, Catwoman's real name is Selina Kyle, and she made her first appearance in Batman #1 in 1940 as the character known simply as the Cat, and was created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane. Now, her abilities is that she's an expert burglar, a master martial artist and hand-to-hand combatant, a highly skilled gymnast and acrobat, and she uses a whip and retractable claws. Now, her team affiliations have been the Justice League, the Batman family, the Outsiders, the Gotham City Sirens, the Birds of Prey, and the Injustice League. And she has appeared in different forms of media. She was first in the on the Batman TV series, and was first played by Julie Newmar. And then she was played by Lee Merriweather in the Batman theatrical release movie in 1966, and then was later played by Eartha Kitt. And then she's also been in movies. She was played by Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns. And then Halle Berry played her in Catwoman. Then Anne Hathaway played her in The Dark Knight Rises. And she's also been a character on both Batman the Animated Series, The New Batman Adventures, and The Batman, which was an animated series that came out, I want to say, in the 2010s. And I think she may have appeared in Batman the Brave and the Bold. I never watched that animated series. But she is she's a well-beloved character. She has her relationship with Batman is very complex. It's kind of a love and hate, because she's a reformed criminal who has somewhat seen the light, and but Tom King actually wrote a story in which in another life Batman and Catwoman end up getting married. And also in the Earth 2 DC universe, that really does happen, and they end up having a daughter named Helena Wayne, and she becomes the Huntress. But in Wizard magazine, when it was when they were in print, once ranked Catwoman 51st as in the list of the 100 greatest villains of all time, and IGN has ranked her 20th as one of the greatest comic book characters of all time. Really beloved character. Really love this character. My favorite Catwoman. My favorite Catwoman would probably be Michelle Pfeiffer. She really did no wrong when she played her in Batman Returns. All right, that's my opinion though. Some of y'all may like Julie Newmar. Some of you may like Lee Merriweather. Some of you may like Eartha Kitt. Some of you may like Halle Berry. Some of you may like Zoe Kravitz. Some of y'all may like what have you. But just my personal opinion, my favorite is Michelle Pfeiffer. Although in a very close second, Zoe Kravitz. All right, this is a Catwoman Comic Hero tee. If you would like one, you can find them on iamthecomichero.com/shop for $20. That's right, I said it correctly. It's back. I finally figured out what the problems were with that with the shop section of the website, so it's operational again. So go ahead and buy something. All right, here's the roadhead for the show. On next week's episode, I'm raising awareness of spinal muscular atrophy, or SMA. And then after that, I'm going to take a break for the rest of August. But when I come back in September, for episode 535, I'm going to raise awareness of childhood cancer. Then on episode 536, I'm going to raise awareness of PCOS, which stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's a cause among women. I personally know some women that are living with this condition, and I can only imagine what they go through on a daily basis. All right, meet me at the Shreveport Convention Center on August the 22nd through the 24th. That is the site of the 10th annual GeekCon. I'm going to be a vendor there. There's also going to be some other great vendors. There's going to be some great guests. Patrick Renna from The Sandlot is going to be there. Jeremy London, Ethan Suppley, and Jason Lee, all from Mallrats, are going to be there. And also Ethan Suppley and Jason Lee also co-starred in My Name is Earl. And then the cast from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from 1990 will be there, including the actor that played Shredder. And then Big Papa Pump himself, Scott Steiner, will be there for all you wrestling fans. And then several others. Y'all, I mean, this is the only, well, this is now the second Comic-Con in North Louisiana. For a long time, it used to be the only. But speaking of the other Comic-Con in North Louisiana, meet me at the second annual Louisiana Delta Comic-Con on November 8th. It's at the West Monroe Convention Center this year. I'm going to be a guest there. My friend John Stout from Kettle Briar Workshop is going to be there. My friends Jordan and Justice from J&J Cosplays are going to be there. My friend Shane Dyson is going to be there. The Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, will be there. And then my friend from that I met on Instagram, Pixel Vix, who's a cosplay artist, will be there. I mean, as Loretta Lynn used to say, y'all come. All right, if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, welcome. And as soon as you're done, like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching this on the Comic Book Lovers Facebook page, welcome. And as soon as you're done, go on YouTube. Well, right here, you can like and share, but then go on YouTube and subscribe. If you're watching this on the Louisiana Delta Content Careers Facebook page, welcome. And as soon as you're done, share, like, and then go on YouTube and subscribe. And if you're watching this on the East Texas Comic-Con Fans Facebook page, welcome. And as soon as you're done, like, share, and go on YouTube and subscribe. All right, I'm Victor Nolly on the Comic Hero. I'll see you next week for episode 534. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero, and meow.